Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 29th episode of the Triboro Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Alonzo, joined by my co-host, Nicholas O'Brien. And before I get into the big thing, I finally got a new cable, so I'm not going to be ear-raping you guys every time.
Yay!
But then, we got a lot of special things planned.
We do.
First off, our co-host of the Triboro Sports Show on the radio 4 to 6 o'clock now, because we're doing 2 hours now, Ian Sacci has decided to join us.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome aboard, Ian.
Hey, I'm very excited to be here. Don't have to,
You just want to curse.
Yeah.
You just want to curse till time
I was going to
sports.
say, I don't have the FCC breathing down my neck like I do on the radio, so I'll take it.
Exactly. So, on the agenda for today, we're going to be going over some quick notes, just what happened with Yankees, Mets, all that good stuff. And then we're going to go into our award. We're going to review what happened with the awards last year.
Yes.
And then we're going to go into our award picks for this upcoming season. Ian is also going to be giving his award picks as well, or predictions as well. And yeah, start it off right now.
Yeah, go for
All
it.
right, so going into the Yankees, so there was some big injury news. First off, you had Gerrit Cole. People thought he was gonna die, because at first he was not recovering quick, as much as he used to from the start, and then it became a thing of he's going to see, I forget the doctor's name in
Yeah.
LA.
It was, last name was Elatrosh. It was the same
Yeah.
guy that Aaron Rodgers had when
Brady,
he tore his Achilles.
Kobe, pretty much all the big athletes.
Like a premier sports
Big doctor
yeah,
guy.
big doctor. People started calling him Dr. Doom because you
Yeah.
go to see him and you're getting surgery.
Bad news. Yeah.
Gerrit Cole did not.
Thank God.
Gerrit Cole is better than Dr. Doom. He's the Fantastic Four. So the plan is he will not throw for 3 to 4 weeks, but they're going to keep the arm active. The official diagnosis is he had inflammation that's affecting nerves. Somehow your nerves being affected is best case scenario in this situation.
Yeah.
Isn't really cause for concern.
I would say better case scenario because, again, best case scenario would be that there's nothing happening.
Well, I'm just saying from what
Oh, yeah,
what was
considering
it?
our expectations, definitely.
Yeah, the very good note. Expected to be back late May, early June, and they said the 60-day IL is a possibility. I think that you should just put him on it
Yeah.
because May 27th is when the first day he'd be eligible to be back. I don't want him coming back before then because you're probably gonna rush him, and you cannot rush Gerrit Cole because
Yeah.
when everyone saw that Gerrit Cole may be out for the season, it literally was see you in 2025.
Yeah.
You cannot rush him back.
This quite possibly could have been worst case scenario.
Yes.
The one guy you could not lose this season was Gerrit Cole.
Yeah.
And thankfully he's only going to be out for a few months.
Yeah.
But it was almost, it wasn't a week, but it was 5-ish days.
It was a week.
It was a week?
It was about a week. Yeah.
That waiting period was excruciating
It
for
was
Yankees
bad,
fans.
yes. And when that was happening, Judge was also hurt. So Aaron Judge so the whole story is everyone in the spring training game that he was playing in got 3 at-bats. He only got 2. They said it was just a thing that was planned. Then it came out it wasn't because he had imaging done on his abs. They said they were very big, very muscular, and he's fine. And yeah, he missed about a week of time, and it was just one of those things where, with me, and he was back in the games, so he is fine. Why bullshit about this? If you're the Yankees, if you don't want to give information, tell us that. In spring training, it's different, but in the regular season, that's a competitive advantage to not really give that information. But during spring training, why bullshit us? It's gonna be oh, they're gonna be mad that he needs surgery, so let's obviously not him, but he's gonna be mad he needs surgery, so let's lie for a week and then tell them.
The thing is with the Yankees, though, is that we've seen this cycle, regardless of if it's spring training or regular season, where they're not of the utmost transparent when it comes to injuries. That's why we were speculating the worst happening for Gerrit Cole.
Yeah.
That's why we thought, oh, Aaron Judge is also going to have an IL stint.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell us the whole truth.
Yeah.
On anything, regardless of when it's happening.
I get it in the regular season because that could be a competitive advantage, gamesmanship type thing. But why in spring training? You know what I mean? That just whatever. And then DJ LeMahieu, he fell the ball off his foot, and he has a bad bone bruise on his, I want to say it's his right foot, And that is very concerning to me. I think that is the most concerning of the 3 injuries. Because that was the foot that he was like, they didn't know if he needed surgery or not, and they elected not to get surgery. And he was like the worst hitter, like one of the worst hitters, just because he couldn't draw. Because this is plant foot too, for a swing.
Well, you said his right foot.
Right? Isn't that the plant foot? It's the.
If
I know it's the
well,
plant
like-
foot.
If he's batting ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's batting ready, that's his back foot.
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Swinging.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's his-
Plant. Okay,
it's
I
his
see what you mean.
plant foot.
Okay.
So that's and for a guy that's all mechanics. That's I think that's very concerning.
Yeah.
Because even when he comes back, they thought that he was gonna have surgery on the foot, but he ended up not. So he's not having surgery. Then he gets a very bad bone bruise on it. That's because
Yeah.
now who the hell is gonna play third base?
Oh wait, I forgot
I was
Peraza's
gonna
Peraza's
say
too.
out
Peraza,
too.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith has been doing decently in spring
But that-
training. There's an expectation that he might be on the opening day roster.
Like, for me, it's Oswaldo.
Hey, he'll be there too. Oswaldo's
like-
definitely going to be on the roster.
But it's the thing is, say that, like, say
Yeah.
Volpe goes down, who's gonna play shortstop?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you have no infield depth right now, which is
You've got a bunch of utility guys who can play it, but you've got other guys who play there full time that are a lot better.
And then there was what's his face. One guy that was like interesting is Josh Harrison, because he's currently a free agent right now, and that's kind of the guy that if you just need a guy to play positions for like a couple weeks, that's kind of what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Cheap, probably league minimum,
Right.
and one of those deals where if they send him down, then he could opt out of his contract. One of
Yeah.
those kind of things, and
I think it's also good to remember that the Yankees were in on Kike Hernandez before he
That
signed back
is-
to the
yes.
Dodgers.
I think that was before the LeMahieu injury.
Yeah, so even before LeMahieu's injury, they were probably looking for another kind of utility infielder, even though you play outfield as well, just like a guy who can play multiple positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Probably for this exact reason.
Yeah,
And
you
that's
wanted
what-
another IKF basically.
That's why I think
Yeah.
Oswaldo's a lock to make the roster. Like, he's definitely, because he's gonna be their everyday third baseman, which is great defender, incredible defender, but you gotta figure shit out with that.
But where's exactly what kind of bat do you have? But again,
I don't
like
think he has
looking
a
at
bat.
the top of the order, it's not as much the issue.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. It's just very because having a healthy DJ LeMahieu rounds this lineup out so much better. I've always been in the camp of Volpe leadoff, so I'm hoping this kind of like And even-
Pushes your
You'll give him
agenda.
the opportunity to be there because who
Yeah.
else is going to be leadoff?
For
besides
sure.
him?
my other guy that I want to be leadoff in Glaber.
Glaber
Yeah.
does make sense because I was going to say a
I
lot
like
of the
Glaber at
conversation,
leadoff.
a lot of
Yeah.
the discourse I've seen has been either Glaber or Volpe at
I-
leadoff.
Yeah.
I think what probably happens is to start the year it's Glaber, and then just kind of like let Volpe get into a groove, like kind of not have as much pressure on him, because think about how much pressure it is where they're gonna attack you because you have Soto behind you, and or Judge, however they're gonna do the lineup, and how much pressure it is to get on base, because that was the whole narrative last year that all the in like the last 2 years that all the home runs that were being hit were solo shots. So that's gonna be so much more pressure. So to get him in the back of the lineup, I think that makes it a lot easier on him.
For
It's-
sure.
Another thing that also came down to it is Volpe. The expectation a lot last year was that he was going to be a lot more of a power bat when he was going through cold snaps. That really wasn't the case. Fixed his mechanics. Now he's transitioning more into a guy that they're hoping hits more for contact
Yeah.
and gets on base. So in that time being, it's a question of, do you want a guy that's transitioning in your leadoff, or do you want a guy who is a lot more adjusted to that in your
Yeah.
leadoff?
I definitely agree with that. And then kind of just like the last note is Nestor Cortez named the opening day starter. Really cool.
Yeah,
good for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
like
him.
good for him. Just wanted to mention that. One thing I did want to mention, just because we're so you guys know this, we're recording episode 29, which you're listening to now, and 30 all in one sitting, and so we're not gonna talk again before the season starts, because the season starts in Houston on Thursday, the 28th.
Sounds about right.
28th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
Whatever.
double check
What's
that.
today's yes, because a week from yesterday, Thursday was 21st.
God, we're math
plus
majors.
7 equals 28. Therefore, you're right.
Math.
I would have just done
Yeah,
plus 7
math.
minus 1.
Yeah, 28th.
Math.
28th at 4:10.
Yeah,
There you go.
at 410. They're playing in Houston. I just wanted to say one guy that I am very much looking towards is Austin Wells. Just because you think about what he was like last year, where he had a shot to make the roster last year in spring training, but a week into even before the game started, he broke a rib. I want to say it was either broke, fractured a rib, whatever, and he was out 6 to 8 weeks. So he never had a spring training. He didn't have an actual normal off season. So we saw what he did at the end of last year, and I'm very intrigued to see what he does in the beginning of the season.
For sure.
I would say outside of Juan Soto, he's probably the guy on the Yankees I'm the most excited for.
Yeah.
Because we haven't had since Gary Sanchez a catcher who is very much a catcher who can be an above-average hitter.
And even then, Gary wasn't that good of a defender. Austin Wells has shown a lot defensively. He's shown to be a much better defender than people really even thought was possible. And you think that can maybe even only get better working with Trevino?
Yeah.
So,
it's a nice balance.
Yeah, it's a very nice balance. That's really all I had for the Yankees, unless you guys had any other finishing notes.
I believe that's all I could think of, because I think what you touched on was what I was going to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, best news considering the circumstances with Gerrit Cole.
Yeah.
So only missing him for 2 months. If you just basically stay above water for those 2 months, I think they'll be all right. But their depth is going to be tested. It's going to be tested early.
Actually, I do have something very brief. Talk about Nestor Cortez. He is the 6th opening day starter for the Yankees since 2009. Do you guys know any of the other 5? Just out of curiosity. Little quick quiz.
I have
Besides
3 in my
Cole?
head.
Cole's one of them.
Yeah.
So Gerrit Cole.
Since 2009.
2009.
Tanaka and CC.
Tanaka, CC, that's 2 and 3.
You said 6, right?
Cortez is the 6th, so there's 5 others.
Okay, so there's 2 others.
So 2 others.
I'm putting you guys a little bit on the spot.
Yeah.
No, I like this. Not you.
This is before my time. I really got into baseball besides 2015, the Mets World Series.
Oh yeah.
20.
Actually, I'll give you a hint. One of them is currently on the Mets right now. That probably gave the
Severino.
Severino was an opening day
Severino,
starter?
yeah.
Yes, he was.
I can't believe I forgot that. What year was this for the last?
Ooh, that is a great question. I'm trying to remember what year it was.
Well, give us a.
So, recap. So, Nestor's the 6th one this year.
Mm-hmm.
Cole has been 23, 22,
21 and 20.
21, 20. 2019, Tanaka.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 3 there.
2018 was Sevy. Sevy or Tanaka.
So 2017.
2017, I don't know.
Because let me remember.
When did CC retire?
2009 or 19.
19?
Or was it 20? Did he play in the COVID year?
No, I don't think so.
Can't remember. It was. No, he did not, because I remember his last outing. I remember that. Yeah.
Actually, no, never mind. It was 5. I thought it was
5?
6.
I was gonna say,
there we go. We got all of them. Yeah.
I was gonna say.
I was gonna say you guys did get it. I read the post wrong.
I was gonna say AJ Burnett.
No. If we were talking 6-1, it would be 2008, and it was Chin Ming Wong. Shout out to Yankees legend Chin Ming Wong.
Oh my God!
Wow, that's crazy.
He was the guy that came over, then was throwing 89 miles an hour, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a guy.
So
that's all I had on Yankees.
Yeah. So up to you on the
My
Mets.
turn. All right. So not as hectic of a week as for the Mets than the Yankees, which is a surprise. You're kind of stealing the thunder here from the Mets. We usually have all these injuries and concerns, but so I guess I'll go in timeline order. So Jose Quintana was announced as the opening day starter for the Mets at Citi Field. This is interesting because I didn't even realize this. This is Pete Alonso's first opening day at Citi Field. He has always been on the road for opening day. So it took 6 years to be opening day at Citi Field. Well, I think the first game in 2020 was at Citi Field, but we don't count that. That doesn't count anyways. But
that season didn't exist.
Exactly. But yeah, so with
in
Koda
front of fans.
Yeah.
So
if Koda Senga down, Jose Quintana is your opening day starter. I think this was the not best move, but the most obvious choice out of the rotation. Quintana's been here last year. He's, kind of one of your staples in a rotation, kind of like that guy you can lean on when he's kind of like your stopper, hopefully. So I like it. Good for him. Let's see. I don't think anything else matters. The Mets have a new DH.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
Well, no, because I thought you were making a joke saying, like, oh, nothing else happened. Then, like, saying that.
Until.
But I didn't know you were going to say until.
Until.
So I didn't know you were saying until.
Until.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Let him cook.
Sorry.
Let him fucking cook, dude.
Until 9 p.m. on Thursday night, when the Mets have finally signed a real DH in J.D. Martinez. I was quite shocked when this news broke.
Wrong. You texted me at 8:19.
Whatever, 8 o'clock. Sorry, but I was shocked when this news came out. I really didn't think the Mets were going to go out there and sign real DH. I thought they were just going to roll over Vientos and just see where it goes. But no, the Mets went out there. They signed JD to a 1-year, $12 million deal. He's going to be paid $4.5 million this year, with $7.5 million in deferrals, starting in 2034 to 2038. That's not a real year.
Oh my
God! But the Mets took a page out of the Dodgers book with all these deferrals, and it makes sense. Vientos, you didn't really know what you were gonna get with him. I do feel for the kid. I feel bad because it's a week until opening day, and the entire offseason, it's kind of like, hey, you're the DH, it's your job to lose essentially. Then a week before opening day, it's like, yeah, we got this new guy.
Well, he was horrible in spring training, right?
No, he's just very inconsistent.
That's been the story of Vientos, I feel like, as a whole.
Yes.
He had these high expectations, and then it was through a combination of just inconsistency on his end, but also having a lack of opportunities because you had Beatty at third.
Yeah. That
he just hasn't had it. But I think with getting JD Martinez, I'm also surprised that they went out and got him, but I think it makes perfect sense, is that he is an upgrade because he's going to give you hitting upside.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's basically, a proven veteran or a kind of upsidey prospect. Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, you're gonna go with the proven guy.
Yeah.
So I completely understand it. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say because I never saw his actual numbers. I never saw the home runs. Yeah. But what I saw, the thing was about how he has a 30% strikeout percentage, and I know his average was above or below 200 for a while. For a point, I saw a post with him being under 200, but I'm just saying that's why I thought he was a lot worse.
Yeah, no, it was just extremely inconsistent. But again, it paints a clearer picture. JD Martinez is your DH. He's gonna take up that spot every time he's gonna play. So that kind of loses the flexibility that we've talked about in the past, where they want to rotate Pete, get him off his feet, get Nimmo off his feet, get Marte off his feet. When JD Martinez is playing, that DH spot is kind of a lock. It's very similar to how Stanton is with the Yankees. I mean, hopefully he plays more outfield this year. But in years past, he's been locked into that DH spot. So, not sure what they want to do there, because I know they talked about giving Marte some time in DH. But obviously, JD Martinez is an upgrade on almost any other person he could have put in that DH spot. And it gives Pete Alonso some much-needed protection that he's basically never had in his entire career.
And JD Martinez in the past 6 years been an All-Star 5 of 6 years, has been an above-average hitter in terms of OPS plus in 5 of 6 years. Every year he was an All-Star. His OPS was over, I believe, 110. So you're getting a guy who is still playing at an All-Star caliber at the ripe age of 36. So
and he'll get you a top 100 prospect.
Yeah. Whatever. But yes, worst case scenario, you can flip him at the deadline, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, you'll get assets out of him.
Exactly. My only one concern with JD Martinez is he whiffs a lot. He had a 31.1 strikeout percentage last year, and he still produced really well, even with that strikeout percentage, so I'm not too concerned. But it is a little worrisome, especially given his age. But, the guy's a professional hitter. If that's kind of his, goal, if that's his process, then I'm all for it. But given his age and given the strikeout percentage, it is a little concerning. But obviously, on a 1-year deal, you kind of take what you can get. And if it doesn't pan out as you hoped, then whatever.
Like, even if there is regression, like, as long as he is around that 100 OPS mark, doesn't matter how many strikeouts there are, as long as he's decently producing, that's still going to be better than anybody else that's currently on that roster that could fill that DH role full-time.
For sure.
Yeah, and another thing, too, is I know that from what I remember on the Red Sox, he's, like, a nerd when it comes to hitting. Where, like, that's never a bad thing to have in the clubhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to find his strikeout percentage because that seemed high.
I checked it. It was 31.1% in 2023.
No, because I remember from, like, other years in his career, like, I do not remember him being that big.
I think it was the highest mark of his career.
It was around, like, 23, 24% outside of last year.
Yeah, he was like a mid-20s guy. So, but it could just be the process, getting older. It's just either bat speed or just whatever that
combination of things.
Right. So that's only my one concern. But again, like you said, Vientos was striking out at like a 30% clip. So you kind of take what you can get. So,
like, along with that strikeout rate, he was also having a higher home run percentage in comparison to previous years. So he's probably swinging for the fences a lot more.
That's what you want from a DH.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. No more Vogelback, looking for a walk and throwing his hands up when the pitch paints the inside corner and striking out looking.
You mean when it's down the middle?
That too.
And now he's across the border.
Yeah, exactly.
Serving,
I was in Canada.
Burgers in Canada.
Exactly.
I want to see, because just out of curiosity, I want to see, did you look at his numbers versus lefties?
No.
Martinez?
No. But I'm sure they're good, which the Mets need.
Because I'm getting that up right now as we speak. So versus, where are you? Versus lefties. Then, so let's see. Okay, so that's just, give me advanced stats. I don't need to see his batting average. Yeah, so the last 3 years versus lefties, 112, 174, 143.
What is this?
WRC plus.
Okay. Yeah.
And then even
much needed.
In previous years, like, I'm just gonna go to 2014, 177, 145, 129, 235, 156, 242.
242. Holy crap.
Yeah. So his entire career, he has mauled lefties.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that's
which has been one of the biggest weaknesses of the Mets for the past decade almost.
Yeah.
They just cannot hit left-handed pitching. Yeah. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but you also added Harrison Bader, who hits lefties well. You hope Alonso kind of improves his numbers versus lefties. You got JD Martinez. You have guys now who can mash lefties, so hopefully they put it together finally and be more a complete team and not be a complete different team when there's a left-handed pitcher on the mound. So I'm excited for that.
I'm curious how much JD Martinez is going to talk to Alonso about that and, kind of just like helping him with that. And Harrison Bader's numbers versus lefties are so weird because you go to like WRC plus in his career. His rookie year, 214. Then 140, 65, 223, 101, 66, 153.
Damn it, we're getting a 60. We're getting a 60 WRC plus.
I was going to say.
No, he's 2 on, 1 off.
Oh, he's 2?
He's 2. It's 214, 140, 65.
Okay.
223, 101, 66, 153. And then now
this year. Okay, so we're good.
But when are there team changes in there? Because obviously he's played for the Cardinals, he's played for the Yankees, he's played for the Reds.
Right.
So there's definitely like changes of environment involved.
For sure.
So. Wasn't WRC plus
park adjusted?
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, it's also just
actual like environment.
Line up.
Because there's other factors outside of just like ballparks. Because you're in other ballparks more frequently than others.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the one last thing about JD Martinez is because he got signed so late, I think they said he's going to have like a 10-day ramp-up period from opening day. So he has this week and another week and a half after opening day where he's going to be in the minor leagues kind of ramping up, going through his own spring training. Mm-hmm. So Vientos might still get a little bit of run the first week or so.
So he signed a minor league deal?
No.
Oh, okay.
If you're a veteran, you can, I don't know if it's like an options thing, but if a team goes up to you and be like, hey, do you mind basically going down to the minor leagues? You can be like, yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay.
So I think I saw that Martinez went to the Mets, so I guess when they were talking, like, yeah, when you sign me, I'm going to start in the minor league so I can ramp up.
Gotcha, okay.
So there'll be a ramp-up period, so he's not going to be on the opening day roster just because of how late he got signed, but he will be there probably, beginning of April.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's...
So, yeah,
anything else from the Mets?
That's the biggest one. And
Yeah.
that's really it. There's not... excuse me, sorry. Senga got cleared to start throwing. He didn't start throwing yet, but he should start ramping up pretty soon. So that kind of stays in line with the May, June set, whatever.
And as soon as you get him back, that rotation's going to be a lot more solidified.
Oh, for sure.
Because, like, the batting lineup, I'm looking at the starting lineup right now, projected for opening day. Nimmo, first. Lindor, second. Alonso, third. Martinez, fourth. Jeff McNeil, fifth. Out. Francisco Alvarez, sixth. Starling Marte, seventh. Brett Beatty, eighth. Harrison Bader, 9. Like, that's a playoff caliber batting lineup. If you get pitching in place, you're looking at a pretty good Mets team.
If pitching goes well, which there's a lot of upside in that rotation, this is a wild card team.
Yeah.
But we'll wait to discuss
but
that further.
as a Yankee fan, I've seen the inconsistency of Luis Severino.
Right.
You don't know what product you're going to get game in.
Right.
Yeah, Bader as well.
Yeah.
But game in, game out, you don't know what you're going to get from the pitching.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's really it for the Mets. So getting into the award predictions and all that good stuff. So we're going to start it off with the over-unders. So I can read off the Yankee stuff. You can read off the Mets stuff.
Sure.
So for the Yankees, the first one was Judge home runs at 44.5. He did not hit that. We both said the over, so we both got
this
that
is
wrong.
a recap, by the way.
Recap, yes.
Yeah, from last year's predictions.
Gerrit Cole strikeouts. The line was at 249.5. We both said over.
Yeah.
Both were wrong, but he won a Cy Young. Volpe stolen bases. We put 24. It was 24.5, and we both put over. It was the under. Wasn't it like? It was right there too.
He was pretty close, yeah.
And then Peraza game played. It was 79.5. We both said the under.
Yep.
And it was the under. Boone ejections was 5.5. I took the over. Nick took the under.
Yeah.
DJ LeMahieu DRS. I took the over. Nick took the under. It was the under. Clay Holmes saves. I took the under. Nick took the over.
By
it was
one.
the under.
It was set at 24.5. Clay Holmes had 24 saves.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure Boone got ejected 6 times.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was like 6 or 7.
I'm back here laughing because I'm like, I can't believe you guys actually.
Yeah, Volpe had 24 stolen bases.
Yeah.
It was 24.5.
These were, I would say these were pretty good lines. A lot of these were close, besides Cole strikeouts.
And even like DJ DRS, he had 5.
Right.
Which is like somewhat close.
Yeah. All right, so that was the Yankees. So moving
I
on.
had 3 right, you had 2 right.
Yes. So going on to the Mets, the first line was Alonso home run set at 39.5. We both took the over. It was the over. Next was Scherzer strikeouts at 219.5. Justin took the over. I took the under. It was the under. Next was Verlander innings pitched. We both took the under. It was the under. Next was Canna hit by pitches at 24.5. Justin took the under. I took the over. It was the under. Next was Nimmo's games played, which looking back on this, I'm shocked I took the under. But we both took the under. He hit the over. I think he played over 150 games. Next, McNeil batting average. We both took the over. It was the under. Unfortunately, McNeil.
A good bit, right?
Yeah, it was. He hit around 280 by the end of the year. The line was 309.5. And then lastly was a Kodai Senga's ERA at 3.745. Justin took the over. I took the under. It was the under as Senga produced a below 3 ERA.
That was the one that I was
year.
shocked on. You were shocked on the Nimmo one with the game split. I was shocked that I put the Senga one on the over.
Yeah.
Good shit, Senga.
So I got 4 right for the Mets. Justin got 3.
So it was 7-7 split. But our tiebreaker was who had the better record between the Yankees and the Mets. The Yankees had the better record by about 2. I think it was 4. It was 2 games because the Mets were.
They were like 74. They won like 74 games.
Yankees were 82 and 80.
Yeah, they were 82 and 80.
So it was like 8 games.
Yeah. So I won the first section, and then we're gonna go into awards.
Yeah.
Okay. So going into the awards we're gonna start off with the MVP. So I'll just read them all off.
Yeah, go for it.
So I took Ohtani, Nick took Yordan Alvarez. Ohtani won with a unanimous MVP. I just want to say we did do it like based off point value. So how many ever points you got with a vote, that's kind of how we like did the calculations. But I'm not gonna like bore you guys with the numbers. Then for NL we both took Soto, and I'm kicking myself because I had Acuna, and then very last second I changed it. AL Cy Young I took Cole, Nick took Castillo, Cole won. Then for NL, I took Sandy. Nick took Max Fried. Neither got a vote.
Yeah.
For AL Rookie of the Year, Nick took Gunnar Henderson. I took Volpe. Gunnar Henderson won. For NL, Nick took Corbin Carroll. I took Jordan Walker. Corbin Carroll won. For Manager of the Year,
you took Phil Nevin of the Angels.
Because I was stupid and I forgot the Orioles manager's name.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to take him, but I completely forgot what his name was.
Yeah.
So I like panicked and chose Phil Nevin.
Yeah.
And then who'd you pick?
I took Terry Francona.
Terry Francona.
Yeah.
He retired, right?
He did retire.
And then for the NL, you took Torey Lovullo. That's the Diamondbacks?
The Diamondbacks manager.
I took David Ross. Did Lovullo win?
No, he got like fourth place.
Fourth
place.
Yeah, Skip Schumacher won last year from the Marlins.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
And then Brandon Hyde won for the
AL.
Orioles.
Gotcha.
If I stole your thunder on that, my
No, that's fine. Because I was going to take Brandon Hyde, but forgot. Then for reliever of the year, we both took Clase, and we both also took Josh Hader for AL and NL. For the AL, it was Felix Bautista, right? I'm not stupid. Felix Bautista for the Orioles. And then for the NL, it was Devin Williams of the Milwaukee Brewers. And then when it comes back to comeback player of the year,
the dumbest
award, because there's no
most unpredictable award.
There's no conformity in the answer of what it is. So I took for the AL Yasmani Grandal. You took Michael Brantley. Liam Hendricks won, which was the most obvious one of all time.
Yeah, I didn't think he was gonna pitch.
Yeah,
I honestly didn't think he was gonna pitch.
If we knew he was gonna pitch, that would have been like a shoo-in.
Yeah.
Then for the NL, I took Cody Bellinger. Nick took Michael Conforto.
Bullshit.
Cody Bellinger won it. Yeah. So, what are your overall thoughts on the award predictions?
I think I still liked my picks. You know, Yordan got some down ballot votes. He had.
Well, I should say first off, I won that overall.
Yes.
I won by I think a good amount of points.
Yeah, because you got MVP and Cy Young.
Yeah, and they were both unanimous.
Right.
So that was a lot of point values in that.
And I got the Rookie of the Years, but just because of how we weighed them, MVP and Cy Young were the bigger awards. But no, I still liked my picks. Yordan had a weird season. He was hurt a lot. Castillo still had a good season, just not Cy Young.
He had 23
potential,
votes,
right?
Or 23 points,
right? Max Fried, he got hurt the entire year, so I still liked my picks. Just unfortunate with injuries, really.
Yeah, I'm still gonna thank God I won because I would have been kicking myself for the Acuna one.
Yeah.
For just the last second, just changing to Acuna. Yeah. Overall, I still liked my Sandy pick. It just didn't work out. The Rookie of the Years, I went with fun, honestly.
I took the boring answers.
I just went for fun. For the Manager of the Year, like I said, I just panicked. And I also liked the Cubs. They ended up getting second place, which we'll get into soon. And then Bellinger, that felt so. There was no glaring comeback player of the year potential.
Yeah.
And so I just chose Bellinger and it worked. But
yeah, with his poor.
He was hurt though.
Stats.
He was hurt throughout those years.
Bellinger?
Yeah. He was dealing with injuries throughout those years.
Still sucked.
But still, he's dealing with injuries and he's not playing well.
I just don't like how comeback play of the year works. It's, you sucked and now you're good? Congrats.
I would agree with that in the sense of Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I was going to say, we had this conversation, it felt, what was it, a month ago? Around the Super Bowl on Triboro Sports Show?
Month and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just...
there needs to be some sort of difference.
Granted, two different leagues, but there needs to be some...
Same idea.
Yeah.
Same shit, different leagues.
There should be, a comeback and a bounce back.
Yeah.
Because that's, that kind of...
That's,
NBA does it well. They have most improved. I don't know if they have a comeback, but, if you had, a most improved and a comeback, and, comeback is, coming from injury or
dying on the football field.
Yeah.
Right.
Mar Hamlin.
Or, Because, like, if it were the case last year, I don't know about most improved, but Liam Hendricks would be come back, and then most improved would
100%.
be somebody who...
For the NL, it'd be Bellinger, probably.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely Bellinger.
What would it be for the AL?
I don't know.
That's a great question.
That's
Yeah.
a question for another
That's
day.
too much brain power right
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
So I won that, so I was 2-0 in the predictions, and then going on to division predictions, I'll do AL, you do NL?
Sure.
All right. So for the AL East, I went Yankees, Toronto, Tampa, Baltimore, Boston. Nick went the same thing, except he had Boston in 4th and then Baltimore in 5th.
Could not be more wrong.
I got Boston right for 5th place. Nick got nothing right. The way we did it is that if you guessed first place right, you got 5 points. If you guessed the second place, you got 4. Third, 3,
2-1.
so on and so forth. And if you got the entire division right, you got an extra 3 points.
Which we did not get.
Not even close. The most that we got right was 2 in the division.
Yeah.
And then for the AL Central, I went Cleveland, Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, Kansas City. Nick went Cleveland, Minnesota, White Sox, Kansas City, Detroit. I got the points for Kansas City. You got nothing. So that's 2-0. Then for the AL West, I went Houston, LA, Seattle, Texas, Oakland. Nick went Houston, Seattle, LA, Texas, Oakland.
Right.
That was another one I'm kicking myself on because I had Texas at second for the longest time. In the last second, I overthought it. So we both ended up getting 6 points from that because we both had Houston and Oakland right. And I'll let you take it over.
All right. So going over to the AL, Justin and I had the same for the NL East with Atlanta, Mets, Philly, Miami, Washington. Only got Atlanta right there. So that's basically like a wash. For the NL Central, we both had St. Louis in 1st. Justin had Chicago in 2nd, Milwaukee in 3rd, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. And then I had Milwaukee in 2nd, Chicago in 3rd, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. So Justin got Chicago right and Pittsburgh. I only got Pittsburgh. And then for the NL West, we both had the same exact one again with Padres in 1st, Dodgers in 2nd, Arizona in 3rd, Giants in 4th, and the Colorado Rockies in 5th.
Sorry, Mom.
So pretty close.
We both got points for the Giants and the Rockies.
It was
6 point difference.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just very rough all around predictions.
Yeah. It's just tough because it's
a lot of teams had like horrible years. Like who thought the Cardinals were going to finish in last place?
The Yankees in 4th.
Right. The Mets didn't work out. Who else? I mean, I was not high on the Rangers. So that's on me, I guess. But it was just a very weird season.
The Angels made a bunch of moves and none of them panned out.
Right. They tried and just fell flat on their face.
Boston in last place. I feel like
that was sort of expected. It's just the story of, I was going to say on the Angels part, that's the story of the Angels, but also every year I feel like is a weird year. Like we're going to predict teams and it's not going to pan out the way we expect.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's going to happen again.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah. So any comments, anything else you would say about division predictions?
Not really. It's very weird. That's really it.
So we can get into our over-unders for next year.
For the 2024 season.
And I get to participate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I will start it off with the Yankees. I will do the OPS by Yankees left-handers to start it off. And then, what do you think? Go Ian, then you?
Yeah.
And then we'll just do reverse order for Mets?
Sure.
Okay. So the line is 784.5 OPS by Yankees left-handers. I took the over.
So for me, I would also go over, just slightly over, because I don't know about splits, but if we're talking 785, that's the highest since 2019 in terms of a full season. That's sort of the expectation right now for the Yankees is around that same time. So I would go over, but just slightly.
I also took the over just because I think Soto's going to carry that. He's just going to really inflate that number. But you also, Rizzo's probably going to, not probably, but he will bounce back from, a concussion. So you'll have Rizzo on top of that. So I think Soto and Rizzo alone, they're going to carry that number. So that's why I went the over.
Yeah, I can't find the numbers I was looking at, but with that number of OPS plus, it would have been about like 6th or 7th in Major League Baseball, and you look at all those teams, like the Astros were high up on the list. They may have been number 1. You have Kyle Tucker and you have Yordan Alvarez. I forget what other teams were up there, but you had guys with like stud left-handers. So I think that in my hot take is Austin Willis is the third highest OPS on the Yankees as a lefty, behind Soto and Rizzo. Because I completely forgot about Rizzo when I was making this.
Oh, really?
So forgetting about Rizzo, I just thought Soto was going to be so high. And then Verdugo and Grisham are going to give you league average production.
I forgot about those both too.
You
That's
forgot
what I'm
about
saying.
how do you forget
That
about
it's
Verdugo?
one of those things
I get
where
Grisham.
it raises the floor so much that, yeah, I think that that's a pretty easy over.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then going to Aaron Judge RBIs at 112.5, I took the over.
I'm actually going to go under here because you think about the times where he's gone over that number, just even had triple digits as a whole. It was 2017 and 2022 where he was like, you're expecting him to be in the MVP conversation, like top 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to have that, especially considering he's going to be laboring that toe injury for the rest of his career. Because he was playing in those 2 years. In 2017, he played 155 games. 2022 was 157. I don't know if he's going to have anything near to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take the under on that.
I also took the under. I think lineup position also has to do with it. I know in 2022 he was hitting second a lot with his historic
And lead
year.
off. He was
Right.
hitting lead off a
Right.
lot.
But you also have to take into account that he's not going to hit 60 home runs. He'll probably be around the mid-40s. So that's 15 RBIs just from him alone you're taking off, plus anyone else on base. And he's, like Ian said, he's only reached over 100 RBIs twice.
Mm.
And like you said, it was, 2017 he had 114, 2022 he had 131. So I think it's going to be a tough number to hit. And, he's probably going to have some management with his toe, so he's probably not going to play 162. So with that being said, I'm taking the under.
The reason I took the over is I don't even think it's remotely close, the best protection Judge has ever had in the lineup, where, say that, because I think at one point in the year, Volpe's going to be a leadoff. So you're going to have him being a demon on the base paths, and you're going to have Soto in front of him who gets on base at, like, the highest clip in all of Major League Baseball. So you're going to have those, and even if Volpe's not the leadoff hitter, he's going to be your 9-hitter. So then you're going to have either Glaber or LeMahieu are going to have a high on-base percentage, so you're going to have guys on the bases for Judge. That's what he was missing in those other years. Like, when he hit 62 home runs, incredible, absolutely incredible, and showing how good he was to the team, but he was not as productive as you would have thought because there was no one else on base. Like, that Yankees lineup, outside of Aaron Judge, was worse than the Pirates in the second half of the year because of that.
Yeah, my thing is, what if, because now you do have Juan Soto, the inverse could happen. What if he cannibalizes any sort of RBI contributions that Judge could have? That's just something to think about. That was sort of the way I was seeing it, is if you have whoever's in your leadoff, you'll probably have Soto at 2, you'll have Judge at 3.
Because
you're not going to have Judge at second a lot.
Yeah, because I was also thinking Rizzo is most likely going to bat 4th, and he's looked a lot better. Who would you
Over
say
Stanton? I would say Stanton would be 4th.
I think
From
what I've seen, they want to go righty lefty.
Okay.
Yeah. I also think Stanton needs to kind of prove himself a little bit. But
yeah, I have seen that he's like
hundreds of millions though.
Yeah.
I think realistically, Stan, like Nick said, kind of has to prove himself, and he's a 6-hitter. I think that Glaber's going to be the 5-hitter.
Okay.
Well, now with LeMahieu out, I think it's going to be different. But I think they put Rizzo after Judge just so that you don't have Judge stand back to back, because that's 2 very similar at bats.
Boone's gonna fuck around with the lineup the whole year.
Yeah, definitely.
So like you'll have him in the 4, 5, 6. You're gonna have him probably batting 3rd at some points.
Yeah.
Especially if you have injuries, because I feel like that could happen.
Yeah.
We talked about this a lot on this Triboro Sports Show. It's gonna come down to durability. So, like I said, with all these guys, they're gonna be batting all over the lineup, except for like Judge in the 8 or 9.
And then, because we could talk about this for a while, to go on to Soto on base percentage, the line is 409.5. I am taking the over.
On that, I will also take the over. No explanation needed.
Ditto.
Yeah, you look at his career, he's hit that, he's been right around there. The only time he had I don't think he's never had an on base below 400 in his career. You're putting him in front of Aaron Judge, the best possible protection you could give a guy like Juan Soto. So that's why I don't think he's going to cannibalize Judge as much as you do. I think it's going to be the opposite, where they're going to be so scared to pitch them back to back that I think with Soto's plate discipline, he's just going to be walking.
I'm not saying I think that. I'll just say that's a possibility.
That's a possibility? Okay.
Yeah. But I also will add to that with Juan Soto, you're throwing him in the Bronx for 81 games a year. If I was a Yankee fan, which I am, I would be licking my chops over that. Yeah. Especially considering, like you said, he's never been below 400.
Especially at a place, you're also playing in like places like Fenway, Camden Yards, where you can get a lot of, I know doubles, but whatever. Yeah. It's a lot easier to get on bases in a place like that as a lefty. Just like slapping it the other way against the green monster, pulling it around the pesky pole, and things like that. So I think we don't really even have to talk about that one that much more.
Yes.
So then the next one is Volpe home runs plus stolen bases at 49.5. I am taking the over.
I will take the slight under on it. I feel like stolen bases might carry that this year.
Ian stole my thunder, and that's basically my exact reasoning. I'm going to take the under, but I don't think by a lot. I think he's going to trade some home runs for doubles, or more so I hope he does, especially with that more level swing. It's not as uppercutty, so I think he's going to be hitting more line drives than fly balls. And then hopefully, his on-base gets better, so then he steals more bases. So I'm looking more at the 15 home run range and like the 30-ish stolen base range, which is very close to that 50 mark, but I'm just extremely slight under.
Because my thing is, like you said, about 15 home runs, but I think that he's going to steal about 35 bags.
I don't think it's going to be that high.
But I think you look at his career, and there's no reason to believe it wouldn't be, especially with all the additions they added. If he gets on base at that much of a higher clip.
Well, that's the thing. You're hoping he gets on base at a higher clip.
Yeah.
I don't know as of right now how much of a jump he's going to make to kind of not explain. What's the word? Whatever. I don't think he's going to make that big of a jump to warrant taking the over on this one.
Well, you agree that he's going to take a jump, though.
Yeah.
Like, you think he's going to get better.
Yes.
Last year, the number was 45 when you combine home runs and stolen bases. I think the home runs are going to go down a little bit, but the stolen bases are going to get jacked up. So that's kind of like what my thought, that he was only a couple off last year, and I think he's going to be significantly better for that level swing.
That's fair.
Ultimately, it's going to come down to how aggressive on the base paths is he going to be.
And I think that when you are, because you also have to realize who's going to be hitting when he is up. You're going to have to be dealing with Judge and Soto. You are, as a pitcher, you can't worry about Volpe. You worry about Volpe, that ball is out of the stadium. Because you saw that multiple times in the beginning of the year when Volpe was getting on base, stealing a lot when Judge was on. He would fuck with pitchers, and I still remember there was like 2 or 3 times he should have had a stolen base, but he didn't because the guy got a hit. And that he ended up scoring because of it. But it's just, for me, that was, I agree with you guys. I think it's going to be very close, but I think he gets it on the stolen bases. Yeah. And then up next, Carlos Rodon, innings pitched at 129.5. I took the over.
I'm also going to take the over on this because when he's pitching a full season and we're expecting him to do a whole fucking lot better than he did last year for the Yankees, he's going to be relied on a lot more, especially with Cole being out. So, again, over. Like when he was in San Francisco in 2022, 178 innings. 2021 in Chicago, when he was a top 5 Cy Young, it was 132 and 2/3.
Yeah.
So, 129.5 feels very low to me. Over all the way.
I'm going to take the under.
I knew it.
God damn it.
I still don't trust his injury history. I was proven right last year, and I'm still going to go.
This is the reason I put the line so low, because I know.
Yeah.
Oh, you set the lines. Okay.
Yeah, we set the lines
ourselves.
We
kind of looked at projections.
Yeah, we looked at projections, career averages, and kind of set it ourselves.
Okay. And even we looked. I don't know about you, but I looked at gambling lines too.
I didn't.
Just get an idea, a starting point.
That's what I thought you did. I thought you looked at like futures, like DraftKings.
Yeah, we kind of just like tweak. I looked at them and then looked at career averages and kind of tweaked them as it's been going.
Yeah, but I don't trust his injury history, and I think it's gonna be really close, and I'm probably gonna regret it by the end of the year. I hope I do. I hope he has a good year, a healthy season. But it's just I don't really trust his health right now, and it's more of a fact of he didn't really pitch a lot last year. So I'm not sure how much the Yankees want to manage that, if at all. So it's just like it's a health thing, it's a load management thing, and lastly, I just don't know how effective he's going to be. If he's going to be like a 5-inning pitcher, a 6-inning pitcher, we don't really know yet. So I think there's just too many question marks with him right now. I hope I'm wrong, but that's why I'm taking the under.
The difference is the reason why he didn't pitch as many innings was when he was in, he fucking sucked.
That's my thing.
You gotta understand that.
That's my thing.
He was so goddamn awful last year.
He just did not play that. Like, it was a thing of he was hurt and he wasn't playing well. So that was kind of one of those things where it was like severely limiting his innings. And on top of that, you look at last year in spring training, he was hurt the entire time. Like, at this point in spring training, he was throwing about 90 miles an hour. He's about 2 weeks ago, he was peaking at 97. So his velo is back. He seems to be fully healthy. He lost a little bit of weight. So I think that, for me, I think like that 150, 160 zone is kind of where like I'm thinking as of right now he lands. So I did put that line a little lower because I know you. And yeah.
I was going to say, when it rains, it pours when it came to how bad he was.
Yeah.
Because he would have bad start after bad start after bad start. Fans would pile on him, and he would just keep getting worse. What we've seen out of spring training with him is that it was the same way when he was in Chicago, where after a bad year, he's going to have a good one, or at least a better one. And so they're going to rely on him a lot more to go deeper, go 6 innings, 7 innings plus.
I wouldn't go
games.
7, but
it could happen. Who knows? Yeah. We've seen stranger things happen with the Yankees.
Maybe later down the year, whenever.
Was he the guy that almost threw a perfect game, but then the guy got clipped in Chicago? Like the very back foot?
I think so.
You remember that too, where like the guys, it was like an 0-2
count. Was either him
count.
or Giolito?
I want to say it was him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was somebody that was an ace in there.
Throw a no-hitter. Let's see this.
Yeah, we're looking this shit up.
He did.
It was him.
Oh, it was him.
It was
okay.
him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He has the ability to go the distance.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That was the year when there was like 6 no-hitters.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that was 21.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah.
Kluber was one of them for the Yankees.
Yes.
Joe Musgrove, or for the Padres.
Musgrove.
Whatever.
Again, it was and both of those were against the World Series champions this year, Texas Rangers.
Yep.
Fun fact.
And then for the next one, Gerrit Cole ERA at 3.17 and a half. I took the over.
3-2, I'd go over.
Ditto.
Yeah, no, I was just, let me get Gerrit Cole. If you look at his career, because I thought that he doesn't need to have an ERA sub 3 to be an ace with a guy like Cole, just because of how many innings he eats, and he typically doesn't, like, if you look at his career, he's only had a sub 3 ERA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in 11 years, so that's better than I thought, honestly.
Yeah.
But the other years, 3.5, 3.23. 3.88 if I'm going back far, 3.22, 3.65. So it's that low threes is kind of where he chills out. And I put this down before the injury too.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's one of those things of the ERA is going to be like those low 3.2s about there. So, but that's not saying that I think he's going to be a shit pitcher. Like, I'm not saying like a 7 ERA.
No.
Oh, please no.
I think he's just going to like barely be above that. I think that the injury makes this line a lot more volatile, though.
I don't know if you guys think of this the same way. My expectations for Gerrit Cole is he's not going to have the same production he did last year as a Cy Young. I don't think he's going to win the Cy Young again. He's coming off an injury, and he's not going to, like you said, Justin, he's not going to be terrible. He's going to be, I would say, he would be producing what you're expecting of an ace.
Yeah.
And to me, that's around like a 3.2, 3.3 ERA.
Yeah.
You don't need him to go sub 3. I don't think he's going to go sub 3, especially after the injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to agree there. And just with the injury, there's a lot less margin for error. Because obviously he's going to pitch lesser innings. So all it takes is kind of one bad game, and it's kind of low ballooned. But yeah, like you said, it's doesn't need to be sub-3 to be an ace. It's the innings where he really gets his value from. But, yeah.
I will say, though, when you look at his career, the one argument I would have to say that he would go under, I'm taking the over, but you look at his K per 9, I'm just going to go since he became a Yankee. So the last 4 years, it was 11.6, 12.1, 11.5, 9.6. So his K, I knew that last year, his Ks were down, a decent bit, based off career averages. You watched him, and he looked more of a complete pitcher. He looked like he wasn't trying to strike everyone out, but he looked like more pitching in contact, more deceiving you and things of that nature. So that'd be the one argument that I would make for him being under, that he could just have had one of those late career things where he becomes kind of a little bit less strikeouts, but a lot less hits, a lot less runs scored overall. And then going on to, is this the last one, Mike?
Yeah, for the Yankees.
For the Yankees, Stroman ground into double plays at 17.5. I took the over.
I'm just going to go with you because I couldn't find numbers on this. I'll take the over as well.
I did find the numbers on this, and he's only done it three or two times in his career. I think he got 14 once. I think that was 21 in 2021. He got 14 double plays. Last year, I think he got 17 on the dot. So I'm going to take the under because it doesn't seem like, as much of a ground ball pitcher he is, there's not a lot of double plays that he gets, which is shocking, unless I was looking at the completely wrong number, which could very well be the case because this was a little difficult to find. But I'm going to take the under because it just doesn't seem like that happens all too often.
I took the over because if you look at his career, last year when he only pitched 136 innings, he had kind of those lingering injuries, things of that nature. I think that the way his contract is he needs to pitch more innings to get that third year. I think it's only based on the second year, but it's going to be one of those things of it incentivizes him a lot more to pitch more innings. And on top of that, you're also pairing him with Matt Blake. So Matt Blake is going to make that elite ground ball rate probably even higher when you do that. So the way I was thinking about it is I just see it going up because of that, and he was already kind of higher up in there, in that for LB. So yeah,
I'm looking at couldn't find the double play stats. I did find ground ball to fly ball ratio. The only time he was ever below 1, where he's getting more fly balls than ground balls, was in 2019 with the Mets. You also have to think about who's behind him. Who's going to be playing in your infield? You have a guy who's coming off a Gold Glove in Anthony Volpe. If I'm not mistaken, he did get that, right?
He did, yes.
He did. So
Anthony Rizzo, he won the Platinum Glove at one point in his career.
Correct? Yeah. He's not a scrub when it comes to defense. So you're going to have a lot of times, and I'm also coming off of watching a fucking compilation of the past couple of years where Yankees have had triple plays. But obviously, that's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna happen as much. But they're a pretty good team when it comes to infield play. Yeah. So it definitely has a good chance of happening.
Yeah. So if I'm looking at the numbers right, the past 3 years, 17 double plays in 21, 7 in 2022, and then 14 in 2023.
And then Stroman stats. I think there's a direct correlation with that and his innings pitched. Because you look at 2021 for that year, of course it does. Do you have the innings up there? Or?
I can grab it.
I do have them, by the way.
Okay. Go ahead. If you want, I was just going to say 2021, 179 when he had 17 double plays, 138 in 2022, then 136 last year. So I just think that because I think there's going to be an uptick in innings, and that plus Matt Blake leads me to believe that he's just going to hit that mark.
Yeah, I just think it's too unpredictable because in 2022, like I said, he had 7 in 138 innings. Last year, he had, whatever I said, 14 in 136.
And 2 less innings.
So he doubled it in 2 less innings. So it's extremely volatile, and I just don't really see it happening.
I'm not sure if you guys noticed this, but I took the over for every single Yankee pick.
Dad, I was starting to pick up on that a little bit. You want the Yankees to do well, I guess.
Well, not even, because the Gerrit Cole ERA, I took the over for.
Oh,
just,
okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I took the over for every single pick, and that was the last one. It was like a 50-50 to me, so I kind of just, like, convinced myself with, like, plus Matt Blake and kind of stuff like that, yeah.
I saw a quote, somebody in my high school, for his senior quote, had, life's too short to take the under. So,
Yeah, exactly.
You're living by that.
And then, any other comments on the Yankees?
Very good lines, Justin.
Thank you.
I appreciate them.
Thank you.
These were very, very thought-provoking.
They were thought-provoking.
There are some challenging ones there.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
All right, fuck you. Go to the Mets.
All right. So moving on to the Mets over-unders, we are going to start with WRC Plus by what I deemed the young Mets. So that includes Beatty, Alvarez. It did Vientos, but now his role is kind of unsure.
It still does.
Right.
Include
Yeah, it still includes him. But also anyone else who gets called up later in the year, whether we see Drew Gilbert or Luis Angel Acuna.
Kind of the general rule of thumb is like anyone under 25.
Yeah, like
kind of
any
like
prospects or
yeah.
guys who are like in their second year, such as Beatty. So their WRC Plus at 109.5. I took the over.
Ooh. So this one, because I wasn't sure what the guidelines were before you mentioned them, I'm going to take slight under.
I'm going to take the over as well. And my reasoning is because I'm going to kind of spoil my pick for my next one. I think Francisco Alvarez just has an absolutely monster season. And I think there are two options for Beatty. Either he's a major league average to above average player in like a good sense, like either major league average up from anywhere from like average to a star player, or he gets sent down. So I think that it's going to be a thing of Alvarez is going to do so good that he's just going to carry that line.
Yeah. I was thinking around the same. I think Alvarez is definitely going to carry it. And I'm still a big believer in Beatty.
I am as well.
And, Vientos, whatever role he plays, I still have hope for him that he can produce at some level.
Yeah.
And then, the other young guys I mentioned, they're knocking on the door. Drew Gilbert is really the name to watch right now. I'm more higher on him than, say, Acuna. So I think just overall, I think Alvarez is going to carry it. But I think that kind of like above average production around 110 is reasonable enough.
Yeah, the thing with me is I had that as an over, but I think the JD Martinez signing makes it a lot easier of an over for me. Because I just think that Vientos was kind of like that wild card where he could like either fuck that lineup or guarantee that line. So that kind of removes that wild card for me, so it made it an easier over.
I honestly wasn't even thinking about like Gilbert or Acuna.
I wasn't either.
Because it's more just a matter of when they come up. So I'm just thinking of like who's currently there, Beatty, Alvarez, Vientos, looking at those.
Yeah.
And then moving on from that, kind of perfect segue, we have Francisco Alvarez home runs at 31.5. Shockingly, I'm taking the under.
Thank God. So the only person in the past 2 seasons to hit over 30 home runs in baseball is Cal Raleigh. I, for this year, have Alvarez at 28. I don't think he's going to hit 30 because that's not really how I believe the league is going to go this year. I have him taking the under barely.
I have him taking the over, as I kind of alluded to. You look at that type of guy, he has just an insane power profile that I would much rather take my lumps on if the under hits, but if the over hits and I knew that he had that in him and I didn't take that.
Yeah.
And he's like, who's your backup catcher?
Omar Narvaez.
So it's like he's not going to really be playing that much. Especially with Alvarez being a young guy, he's not going to need as much load management. You're going to be playing him pretty much every day.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a day if JD Martinez wanted a day off and Alvarez wasn't going to catch, they'd put him at DH.
Yeah.
I think he's just going to get so many at-bats, and he has too much power for me to take the under.
Yeah, that's fair. I really wanted to take the over on this, but also looking at it, he played 123 games last year. He hit 25 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
That's with inconsistent playing time and, the rookie highs and lows. So he
was pretty bad when he started, right?
Yeah, like it was It was an adjustment period because
Look at the
he
Josh
also
Hader at bat.
right. He also just didn't play enough, I don't think. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. I think he's going to hit 30, like flat.
Yeah.
So I'm not taking the under by much, but like kind of what Ian said, like that 28-30 range, I think that's where he's gonna land because you figure he plays another 20 games. I think 5 home runs is pretty easy. 10, you're kind of pushing it, but
my thing is just you take out those rookie lumps and you get a much more consistent season from him. Like, you don't have him looking like one of the worst hitters in baseball when he first came up. When he actually got acclimated, I think that, I just think he has a monster. I think he's probably going to be the best offensive catcher in baseball this year.
So, I would hope so. I'm very excited for a full season of Francisco Alvarez. But we can keep going on and on about him. Next up, we got starting pitcher ERA at 4.245. I am taking the under.
I'm going to go again slightly over because we alluded to this before. The bats in the Mets lineup are playoff caliber. It's going to come down to pitching. A lot of the expectations I have for them is being sort of on the cusp of being a wild card team. And so I would see them being maybe like a 4.3 ERA. So I'll take over.
I am going to be taking the over. I had the numbers up, but last year the Mets had a 4.2 ERA. That is including Justin Verlander, Scherzer, and Senga. So you're taking it. I know Senga's going to be back halfway through the year, but you don't know how he comes back. You're taking out 2 multi-Cy Young pitchers, 2 Hall of Fame pitchers, and you're kind of just hoping that Luis Severino's healthy. You're hoping that a bunch of guys are healthy to a point that I think guys, like, you're not going to trust guys to go that deep, and they're just going to, you're not going to trust them with runners on, really, and they're not going to have times to get out of jams, and I just think I see the thing that holds the Mets back is the starter ERA, so I'm taking the over.
I kind of disagree with what you're saying, that Scherzer had an ERA over 4 with the Mets. So who cares if he had a Cy Young?
Yeah.
He was a average to below average pitcher when he was pitching.
Fair.
Verlander missed the first month. He pitched about 2 months with the Mets. And yeah, Senga's not going to have a below 3 ERA, but I think this rotation has too much upside to be below average. I think they're going to be average, which is around 4.25 to above average.
They have upside, but how much consistency is there?
I was
That's
going to
be
say
the question.
The downside is, I think if I had to take a bet right now on the upside or downside of the entire rotation, I think the downside is more likely. Because you have Jose Quintana, you have Luis Severino, you have Sean Manaea, and Luis Severino and Sean Manaea, they aren't walk-ins to be good pitchers. Like, they both... Sean Manaea, I'm not sure how much. I know he had some injury history, some inconsistencies. As a Yankee fan, Severino is either going to give you a 3 ERA or 7.5 ERA. You're not in 100 innings. You don't know what you're going to get there. And who are your 4th and 5th starters? Like, I'm legitimately asking.
Adrian Hauser and Tyler McGill. I think the also thing you're missing is that this team has a lot more starting pitching depth than the past.
But it's also depth.
But it's also...
Right, but it's good depth. Jose Butto had a below 1 ERA in spring. Like, it's spring, but in the last 5 starts in September, he had about a 3.5. You have Christian Scott, who is fast riser and a prospect. You have Mike Vassell. You have Dom Hamill. There's options there that can provide you league average pitching. So I think that's where I'm coming from, that there's a lot more depth and there's a lot more average depth, not just depth that can throw you innings.
I don't have any thoughts. It's mostly just coming down to how many of those are going to be consistent on a full year basis.
Yeah.
Because as far as we know at this point, the ones that we've talked about, we already mentioned them, you're not going to have any real consistency to expect them to be below like a 3.2.
And I'm also kind of a big believer on very fast rising pitching prospects you trade, because you look at that with the Yankees, that's kind of been their status quo with fast ranking guys like Wineski, Waldachuk, Justice Sheffield, and a couple other guys were like, if there were guys that came out of nowhere, they trade them. Because pitching is so fluky. So, I know you said, there was 1 or 2 guys that were kind of like that. So, I'm kind of more... I've always been more pessimistic on those guys' outlooks, so that's like another thing. But
that's also the Yankees. We're just tuned to that.
yeah, but I'm more pessimistic when it comes to fast rising pitching prospects.
Yeah, that's fair, and we can talk about this for hours.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna say-
we'll
I was gonna
move
say the
on.
same thing.
But in a very similar light, Luis Severino innings pitched. This line was set at 134 and a half. I will be taking the under.
Holy shit, that line was way too fucking high. Because he hasn't... I have a couple of things. I'll get into it a lot more. The only times he's been above that was 2017-2018 when he was Cy Young caliber. So, very much below, going under.
Over.
Stop it, Justin.
Over.
I love you,
You're the
Justin.
chaos
Justin, you're the
king.
best. You're the best. You're the best.
I don't
Justin's a
know
chaos
what it
candidate.
is. I don't
Stop it.
know why I chose the
It's
over.
the beard.
He just turned 30 a month ago. He's still relatively young for a pitcher. I don't know what it is. I just know the second he gets away from the Yankees, you know that he's going to be a lot better than he was.
I get that idea. Here's the thing, though, because he was on in 2019 signed the 4-year, $40 million contract. I have an article up here from The Athletic. He pitched 26 games in 4 years. He didn't pitch at all in 2020. Here are the injuries he had in those 4 years. Rotator cuff inflammation, a lat strain. He had Tommy John. He had a right groin strain and then another lat strain. This dude is glass bones, paper skin. He's not going to be anywhere near 130. I'm not saying, hey, he could be injured. But again, we also just see inconsistency where he's not a guy that start in and out of each start. You're going to get 6 innings of quality baseball out of.
My thought process is Luis Severino. If you account for taxes, he has made about $20 million in his career. Hear me out on this.
I don't know where this is going.
This is kind of his make or break year to get another contract. If he wants to get a big, somewhat long-term 4 or 5 year contract with about 20 a year, he has to be good this year. He has a couple of young kids. If there was ever a year for him to bounce back, it would have to be right now.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought process, that if he wants to, like, yeah, $20 million, I'd kill for that. But, like, when it comes to, like, that kind of perspective, if he's going to have that type of a year again, it's going to be right now this year.
Yeah.
History's against him, though. That's the only issue.
No, like I
Yeah.
said, there was picks last year where I went against my gut, and I was right on them.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but my gut feeling is saying the over. Because in
Yeah.
those years when he wasn't really pitching that much, he was hurt in spring training. A lot of the time, he got hurt either early or late in spring training. That affected his rehab, whatever, like, just getting into the season. He's been healthy spring training.
Yeah.
And you guys need guys to eat innings. So I
Right.
think I'm taking the over.
Yeah. Yeah. I still took the under, but like you said, this is the first time he's healthy in spring training since I think he said 2018.
A while.
So just that, and I think he fixed some like sleeping habits and stuff. I know it's
No,
crazy.
no,
We're getting into some...
I know
No, but
it-
that makes sense. though.
I
That
know
makes
it's crazy,
sense.
but he fixed some things in his personal life
Yeah.
that sounds like he's just being better
More
prepared.
professional.
Right, but just to wrap it up, I'm still taking the under because I think the Mets are going to rely more on depth and like 6 starters and stuff like that. But I still think he's going to have a good year.
It's weird that I took the over for the ERA because I didn't believe in the consistency, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I think he
Yeah,
has
you're going wrong.
He has like a 4 ERA, like around there, but he just eats innings.
Yeah.
Because you can also just go along on the narrative of, oh, he needs to go deep because of the bullpen
Yeah.
being inconsistent.
Speaking of bullpen, thank you, Ian, for that fantastic segue.
I didn't even try. Go ahead.
Edwin Diaz save. Whoa.
Dean.
Edwin Diaz.
Yo,
Edwin
is Diaz still not
Edwin
recovered
Dean?
from the
Who's
patellar
Edwin
tendon?
Dean?
Edwin Diaz saves at 34 and a half. I took the under.
I'm going to go the over just on vibes.
This
I-
was.
I love that.
I was gonna say this was a pretty easy under for me.
Me too.
The reason why is I have it right here. If you look at his career for saves, 18, 34, 57, 26, 6, 32, 32. So he hasn't hit this, because it was what, 34 and a half? Yeah, 34 and a half. He hasn't hit this in a while. on top of that, I think this is going to be probably the worst team he's been on in a while, so I just don't think he's going to get the opportunities for the saves.
The worst team, but he's also has a chance of being the best arm in their bullpen, so they'll rely on him a lot more.
I just don't think they're going to be in as many save situations.
I don't know.
That, including that, I know it wasn't his arm or anything, but I think they're going to manage him a little better.
They should.
Yeah, they
they
should
definitely
manage
should.
him a little better. And I think this bullpen is pretty deep that you can have guys
Oh,
who can
shit,
take
today's his
saves
birthday.
away. Happy birthday, Edwin Diaz.
Feliz cumpleaños,
Akis, I think.
no,
Ahoy.
Feliz
Wait, for what are you
cumpleaños,
trying to say?
Edwin Diaz.
Si.
Happy birthday to Edwin Diaz.
Si, senor. But just to keep things moving, the next line is Starling Marte stolen bases at 29.5. I took the over.
Ooh.
Begrudgingly took the over.
Ooh.
I'm going to take the under on that.
I think for me, this was a pretty easy under. The last time he's had more than that count was 2021, where granted he stole 47 bases, but it's also a thing of he's had double groin surgery. He's not you're gonna want to have more load management. He's getting older. He's probably not gonna play as many games as he played on top of that as well.
You also have a lot more depth in that outfield, so it's going to be... I wouldn't say he's still going to be in their starting lineup, but it's going to be a challenge to have him in there consistently, especially with the injury history.
In 86 games last year, coming off double groin surgery, he stole 28 bases.
He's also 35 years old.
There's also new rules. If
He
he's
also
healthy,
ran last year with the new rules.
if he's healthy, I think he steals 30. I don't think that's like a question.
But that's the question.
Right, but in 86 games, he stole 28 bases. If he
Mm.
plays 115 games, I think he hits 30.
I could see that. I just don't think that he does it. I just don't think that a thing of age plus a lot of other factors, like just the natural slow, like less speed. I just think that
Only a year though.
It's not as much of a surefire bet as it was last year.
yeah. I just think I don't know. Like I know it's like away from the groin injury, but like double groin surgery is a big because didn't he also get it in the offseason as well? Or am I wrong? No, but
That was last year. Going
regardless.
into 2023, he had double groin surgery and still stole 28 bases in
Yeah.
86 games.
I think it's a thing of like the age, and I just don't think he plays that many games.
Like, you don't want to bank on him getting injured, but it's just going to be a challenge to keep him in the
Yeah.
lineup.
I just don't think he
frequently.
gets the opportunities.
That's fair. Agree to disagree. And last over under to top things off. Pause. Team WRC Plus against left-handed pitching. I have that at 104.5. I will be taking the over.
I'm also going to take the over on that because we've talked about this so many times at this point. Their lineup is going to be good. You got to hope that they're going to be carrying the team. So I'm going over.
I also had the over, but I also had it before JD Martinez. I
Even
just think
better.
that my thing is how much I've hyped up Francisco Alvarez. I think he's going to just maul lefties, like you said, Bader. And I just think that was, for a team that can't hit lefties, it felt pretty easy to say over.
Yeah, for the past few years, they've been around like a 96 to league average 100 against lefties. So I think a 105, that's pretty doable given the additions.
Yeah, we'll see how it is, especially when it comes to having like new life in terms of managers and everything.
Yeah. So that's really all we got for the predictions.
That's really it for over-unders, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to hop into the next one, but you guys aren't seeing that yet.
You get to wait.
You get to wait.
So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. You can hear more of us and Ian on the Triboro Sports Show Fridays on 88.7 WNHU. And yeah, we'll see you guys in a few minutes.
Well, for us.
For us.
See you guys.